A long time ago, when I was about 8 years old, I got lost at a lake. It was the Hag Lake near First Grove, Oregon, where I was born and raised. And it all started on a Sunday. It was after the church service, because I go and worship God, and then I come home. I ride my bicycle, and I was only like 7 or 8 years old. And I'm an American, born in 1985, and I come home, I ride my bicycle about a mile by myself, unsupervised, maybe less than a mile, but it takes about 5 minutes on a bicycle. And I'm drawing some pictures, and it was just a normal Sunday afternoon, and then I see my father, and I see my older brother, and my older sister, I think, and I don't remember if my younger sister was around. I only got one brother, and I was kind of busy with drawing some pictures and putting the pictures on the wall because I really liked doing those things. And around that time I was trying to turn our house into a jungle I didn't really have any plants, or trees to fill the house, with trees and stuff. So I thought I would just make pictures and put the pictures on the wall like wallpaper, make my own homemade wallpaper, or it's kind of like wrapping your house up as a big Christmas present or birthday present. And I was trying to do that, and I thought it was a good idea. And my family were talking about taking a bike trip to the lake, the closest lake to our house. Maybe not the closest lake. We had some ponds, but ponds are not really lakes, but it's a pretty big man-made lake, named after a man named Henry Hag, maybe? He probably was a hag, but I don't really know because I never knew him personally. But we decided to go there, and it's about probably 10 miles away. And so we get on our bicycles, my father and me and my brother and maybe also my older sister, and we go towards the lake, and it takes probably a few hours to get there, and we finally get there. And I remember riding my bicycle there, and it was really interesting seeing the big sidewalks on the one street that goes towards Hag Lake, and we're riding on the bicycle, riding on the sidewalk on our bicycles, and I had a smaller bicycle because I was smaller. I was like a little man or a little boy, and probably still am, and we go over some small little bridges, but it was like the first bridges I've ever been over in my life. And now that I'm in Vietnam, I go over bridges all the time. And when I moved to Portland, Oregon, when I was older, I had to go over bridges too, over highways and stuff. There's bridges, but back then it was the first time that I really been over it by myself on a bicycle. Before that, I've been over a bridge when we went to Seattle for the first time when I was about 3 years old. I remember that, but here I am on my own, except with my family, not totally on my own yet. And we're going to the lake, and we get to the lake, and we have to pay some money to get into the lake because it's almost like a national forest, a national park kind of thing, where you have to pay money, and the money goes to the government, so the government can do stuff with it, probably good things. Some of what the government does is good, and that's good. And so we go to the lake, and we start to ride around the lake, and then we stop, and we see an air mattress, and we get onto the air mattress, and then we're my father's pushing us, and we're sitting on the air mattress, and it's a little boat. We have our own little personal boat, and we're going out into the lake, but not all the way to the middle of the lake, but just a little ways, and pretty maybe a quarter of the way into the lake, and we're on the side of the lake, and I'm hanging on, and I can't really swim, and so good thing I didn't fall, otherwise I would drown, and then I have to do some get all Baywash on me. And sometimes you think in the midnight, Baywash, people who save people at the beach in the water, you drown, and the people have to come and get you kind of thing. And And so I was holding on tight, and I was kind of scared that there would be like little fish or sharks or whales or anacondas and snakes on the plane and all those, Mormons and leprechauns and all these things that can come and get you. I was a little scared. I wasn't thinking about all those things. I was just thinking about the fish, and the fish can come and bite my toes off. And so I was a little scared about that, and I was like, but I kept my feet partly in the water part of the time, and it was kind of scary, but it was kind of exciting too. And we did that for a few minutes, and then we went back to the shore, and we went out of the lake, and then we were going to go home, and then I must have said something, but I'm not exactly sure what I said, but I think I wanted to go around the lake, but it was partly because we had a reunion before that, like the last year, before that, like in '92, with our family, with our relatives, like we had an aunt and uncle, our cousins, and like my mother's brother and my mother's sister, and their families. And so that's like the Williams and the Moorheads, and our families, the Arnolds, even though my father was adopted. So my father was a Rasp, but now he's an Arnold, so I'm Joey Arnold. So we had a reunion, and we went to that lake before, like last year or some months before, or a few days before, a few weeks before. I don't exactly know when we were there, but we were there before, and I thought we were going to come back and go to the same spot again. And so I really thought, I was expecting that. That was just, it made sense, was logical for me, and so I was thinking we're going to go back there, and so I insisted that we went all around the lake because we're going to stop, I thought. So we kept on going. We're having a good time going downhill, and that was really exciting, going really, really fast, like faster than I've ever gone before in my life at that moment. And then they needed to stop, and I kept on going. They told me to keep on going, and they went on some trails to look for some things or to pump up their bike. Maybe their tire got a little inflated, like, how do I say, deflated, so they needed to inflate it, and they're working on that, or they're looking for things, or I don't know what they're doing exactly, but I kept on going. But then I stopped at the spot where we were before, or the place I thought we were before. It kind of looked like a place where we were before, and I stopped there, and I waited for them, and then I saw them go by on the street, and then I thought, maybe I was just seeing things, because why would they just go by me? Why wouldn't they see me? So then I went back to where they were on this like trail on the side of the road, and I was looking for them, and I was calling for them, and I was screaming or yelling, or like saying, "Hey, Daddy, where's Mommy? Where's Mommy? MAH00202, where's Mommy?" Or I mean, like I'm just like trying to find them, trying to call out for them, and I couldn't see them, and so then like I was like just sitting there at the lake, and my feet were in the lake a little again, and so I took off my shoes and my socks, and then for some reason I didn't really put my shoes and socks back on, or maybe I put one of my socks and one of my shoes on, and I'm like walking with like half barefoot, half with my shoes on, and I'm walking my bike, and I'm going home, and it's starting to be late, like 8 or 9 p.m. and then I'm praying a little, but not anything specifically. I'm just praying for like strength, not really for like, please save me. Maybe I kind of do, but not specifically. I'm just calling out for help kind of thing, and it was okay, and it was good that I was able to call out for help. But then I forgot about it. I stopped thinking about that I was praying. I stopped. I was praying for like a few minutes, just kind of like out loud, and while I was walking, and I was going to walk all the way home, basically, and maybe I could eventually, but then I just continued to walk, and I was thinking about things, and I'm still kind of sad, but I was just walking, and I was going, and then a car came, and there was a family in there, and they asked me where I was going and where my home was. I pointed towards the forest. I pointed north, and when you point north, like that the forest is there, and not like how do I say, like Forest Grove is more east, and not just directly north from where we were. We were south and west of Forest Grove, and we were more like south of Gaston too, and so I didn't really know where we were exactly. And the family kind of knew that I was lost, even though I didn't really know that I was lost. And you know, they say don't talk to strangers, but I did, and I got in the car. So if they were like murder there, I said I'd be totally gone now, and they didn't do anything horrible to me. They helped me. They put the bike into the back of the car, somehow into the trunk, and it was kind of hanging out, and then we went to their home, and then I was watching the Turtles 3, which came out in '93, around March, and so that means that I did get lost after that, probably during the summer in '93, and I already saw the Turtles in the big screen with my mother and my younger sister, and I really loved the third Turtles movie more than the one that came out this year in 2014, even though it's kind of exciting seeing the rebooted version, Turtles 2014. I still like the original ones because they're more friendly. Like, I would like to see a fourth one now. Even if it was like rated R, it would still be exciting because I like the way they look if they're smaller, because then they're like the same size as humans. Otherwise they're just like, they're kind of like Godzilla and they're a little too big. So I'm watching that and they ask me where I'm from, or like, what's my phone number, and I say 163. That's not your phone number. It was actually my house address. I grew up in 163 in the Rose Grove mobile home ghetto neighborhood park, community park, you know, like a trailer park, the Rose Grove. It's at 3839 Pacific Avenue in Forest Grove, the city Forest Grove in the Washington County, in Oregon of the United States of America. And so, like, they called the people at the park, and I thought they called the police, but my brother says they called the park, and they knew because my father told them, and so they knew what to do, and they contacted my father, and my father came with the help of Ken, which is the father of like Tina and Kathy, which is like neighbors that lived across the street. And so they came in the truck, and my father came with them. Like two fathers came. My father and another father. They came and picked me up. And so we went home, and it was like nighttime, like maybe 10 p.m., and it was dark. And so they rescued me, and everything was okay. But, you know, a lot of times in my life I get lost, and maybe lost in the brain, you know, or lost physically speaking. And it's the kind of thing that we do as humans. We get lost, but we got to keep on going. For me, you know, when I look back at this, it's just interesting, it's kind of funny, because it's just kind of who I am. It's the kind of person that, you know, I like to be very random. I like to just run off, and I get lost in rabbit trails when I'm talking. I talk about this and I talk about that, and it kind of, you know, disrupts me, or, you know, distracts the viewers, the audience, the people that listen to me. They have a hard time listening to me because I'm so random, and like, it's hard to follow me. You know, I know it's hard to follow, and I try really hard to help people understand me, but sometimes I don't do a lot to help people, and when I understand that I've always been that way, it helps me understand that this is a basic thing about me, and it's not totally horrible, but it's just something that a lot of us have, and it's just something that you kind of have to live with, and you can overcome it by, first you have to recognize it, and that's one of the keys in becoming better people, is in recognizing your faults or the problems that we have to face in life, and that's the beginning stage, the beginning, you know, level. We got to do that. That's the first thing we got to do. A lot of times people are in denial, and they don't want to talk about the problems, and if you don't talk about the problems, you can't ever get past the problems, and that's always important to remember. So remember that the next time that you get lost somewhere. Thank you for watching.